Jai Sparikar Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Jiyo Ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madhava Jiyo Ki Jai. Jai Gandharva Govinda Sundar Jiyo Ki Jai. Jai Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata Shri Shila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata Shri Shila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata Shri Shila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Asto Tarasata Shri Shila Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Asta Tarasata Shri Shrimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Mahabhagavat Srila Gaurkishore Das Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Shri Srila Sachidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Vaishnava Sarvabhaum Shri Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Gauriya Vedanta Charya Baladev Vijabhushan Prabhu Ki Jai. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai. Srila Narottam Srinivas Yamananda Prabhu Trai Ki Jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Das Raghunath Sadgoswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Srila Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandadi Gaura Parsada Vrinda Ki Jai. Nama Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sikoho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Shri Antardvip Mayapur Simanta Dvip Godrum Dvip Madhya Dvip Kola Dvip Ritu Dvip Janu Dvip Moda Druma Dvip Ruda Dvipatmaka Shri Shri Navadvip Dharma Ki Jai. Jai Shri Purushottam Kshetra Shri Jagannath Puri Dhamma Ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Govardhan Dvadashavanatmaka Shri Braj Mandala Dhamma Ki Jai. Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Yamuna Ganga Tulsi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Radha Govinda Radha Gopinath Radha Madan Mohan Jiyo Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Radha Shyama Sundar Radha Raman Radha Damodar Jiyo Ki Jai. Shrimati Lalita Vishaka Adi Ashta Shaki Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Manjari Rati Manjari Adi Manjari Vrinda Ki Jai. Shrimati Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Shrimati Purnamasi Yogamaya Devi Ki Jai. Shri Gopishwar Mahadev Ki Jai. Sarva Bhishta Pradata Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Jiyo Ki Jai. Bhakti Vigna Vinashana Shri Nrsinga Dev Ki Jai. Bhakta Pravara Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai. Charo Dham Charo Sampradaya Charo Acharya Ki Jai. Akara Matraj Shri Chaitanya Mat Ki Jai. Or Ananya Shaka Mat Samuha Ki Jai. Shri Vishva Vaishnav Raj Sabha Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Tri Bhuvana Pavana Harinam Samkirtana Ki Jai. Tri Bhuvana Mangala Harinama Prabhu Ki Jai. Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Sachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Shri Nityananda Mahajana ki jai, Shri Panchatattva ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Yashodananda Nandana Krishna 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 Hare Hare Yashoda Nandana Krishna 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 Hare Hare Radhika Ramana Rama 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 Hare Hare Radhika Ramana Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Shri Harinama Sankirtana Ki Jai, Shri Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Sachinandan Gaura Hari Ki Jai, Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai, Shri Pancha Tattva Ki Jai, Shri Srila Sachidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai, Shri Jaiva Dharma Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukam karoti vachalam Pangum langayate girim Yat kripa tamaham vande Shri Gurun dinataranam Vancha kalpatarubhyascha Kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo maha vadanyaya Krishna prema pradayate Krishnaya Krishna chaitanya namne Gaura tise namaha. Nityanandam namastubhyam Premananda pradayane Kalo kalamashanashaya Janava pataye namaha. He Krishna karuna sindho Dina bandho jagatpate Gopesha gopika kanta Radha kanta namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Bhaktya Vihina Aparadha Lakshay Kshiptascha Kamadi Taranga Madhye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapanna Vrinde Numaste Charanaravinda. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. First of all, I offer my unlimited Dandavat pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable Gurudev, Nitya Leela Pravishta, Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa, Ashto Tarasata Sri Srila, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada. And then I offer my same unlimited Dandavat pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipful beloved Siksha Gurudevs, Nitya Leela Pravishta, Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa, Ashto Tarasata Sri Shila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj and Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Ashto Tarasata Sri Shila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. I offer my Dandavat pranams at the lotus feet of all of my Sri Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga, and I offer my Dandavat pranams to all the Vaishnavas and to all the Vaishnavis. So we are now going to read chapter 22 of Jaiva Dharma. Chapter 22 is titled Prameya, the commencement of Prayojan Tattva. So the other day we gave a class which is introductory for this chapter. We talked about what is Prayojan, what is Sambandha, what is Avideya, and so forth, and many other sublime tattvas we discussed. But now we're going to actually read the chapter. And of course, being from the Jaiva Dharma, each chapter begins with another section of the story. Because Jaiva Dharma is a book written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, which is in the form of Vaishnavas in Navadvip Dham after the disappearance of Mahaprabhu, not so long after, within 50 years after, because there's still different associates of Mahaprabhu remaining on the planet at that time. So, but the setting is in Sri Navadvip Dham, especially in Sri Mayapur Dham, and at Sri Vasangan and other places in Navadvip Dham. And there are different characters, different personalities who come into the picture from the first chapter all the way to the end. And these different individuals are from various angles. They are appreciating Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's sublime philosophy, his personality, and the whole process that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given to attain Krishna Prem. So the preliminary chapters in the book are addressing the more basic subject matters which pertain to what is Dharma, what is Nitya Dharma, what is Naimitic Dharma, and many, many other categories of questions come into the picture. And then, at a certain point, there is a discussion, but who are the persons that are speaking? They are exalted Mahabhagavat, fully realized Vaishnavas who are renounced. They are living in Babaji, renounced Vaish, in the holy Dham, and they're completely absorbed day and night in relishing and tasting Gaur Prem. So these are the personalities who are speaking in this Jaiva Dharma book. At the final 1/3 section of the book, then the setting changes from Navadvip Dham and shifts to Jagannath Puri Dham. And there, Gopal Guru Goswami is giving instruction, one of the most intimate associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and who is considered one of the greatest gurus in our line. So, it's a very, very wonderful experience to read the Jaiva Dharma from the first chapter all the way to the end. For these few days, I'm only just touching upon certain sections of the Jaiva Dharma. And I intend to complete a number of chapters, because this is for my own appreciation. I'm also reading these sections separately on my own and trying to experience the depth of all these teachings. So now this story is beginning. Prameya. You know what prameya means? Prameya means something which is proven by evidence or praman. There are two different things, praman and prameya. And the Dasmul Tattva, the 10 essential principles of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy, the Dasmul Tattva begins with praman. The first tattva is praman. And praman means the evidence that can prove these truths. So in Vaishnava philosophy, the evidence is coming from the Vedas, from the Puranas, from the various Vedic literatures, especially Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, which has come down to us for hundreds and thousands of years. It has come down to us through the chain of disciplic succession, Guru Parampara. And what the great personalities in the disciplic succession have accepted from the various Vedic teachings and various quotations from Vedic literatures, what they have accepted, that is called praman, or amnaya. It is also known as amnaya. So it is the proof. The proof. But what is being proved is called prameya. So praman and prameya. So here, this chapter is titled Prameya, the commencement of Prayojan Tattva. Don't chant out loud during the class. The commencement of Prayojan Tattva. Commencement means the start, the beginning of introducing what is Prayojan Tattva. So, now the scene is, as we're reading here from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that it was a Ekadasi day. And the Vaishnavas were performing kirtan. Where were the Vaishnavas performing kirtan? On the large raised platform beneath the bakul tree in Srivas Angan. So the setting is right over here in Mayapur Dham, Srivas Angan, the place of dwelling of Srivas Thakur and his family and all the Vaishnavas, and Nityananda Prabhu was living there when he came to Navadvip, and every night Mahaprabhu had kirtan in his house, and so many other glorious things about that place. That is called Srivas Angan. And next to the Yog Peeth, the appearance place of Mahaprabhu, and it's only short distance, 5-minute walk from the Yog Peeth. There is Srivas Thakur's house. So, the Vaishnavas on the Ekadasi day, they were performing kirtan on a raised platform beneath the bakul tree in Srivas Angan. And some of them were sighing very heavily. What does sighing mean? Sighing means like, like this. And they were saying what? Ha Gauranga, Ha Nityananda. None of them could understand in what kind of bhav their revered elderly Babaji was absorbed. So before their eyes, that elderly Babaji personality, he became stunned. And then after some time, he burst into tears, crying. And then he began to lament, "Woe is me, alas! Where is my Rupa? Where is my Sanatan? Where is my Das Goswami? Where is my Krishna Das Kaviraj, the dearmost brother of my heart? Where have they gone, abandoning me all alone? Fie on me that I remain alive, simply tolerating the pain of their separation. I am undone by their separation. Even the remembrance of Radha Kunda is troublesome to me. My life force writhes in agony. Only the vision of Rup Sanatan will save my forlorn life. I have not given up my life even though separated from them. I am simply condemned in every way." So speaking in this way, he began to roll in the dust of the courtyard. Then all the Vaishnavas who were gathered there, when they witnessed Babaji expressing himself like this, then they said to him, "Oh Babaji, be patient. Rupa and Raghunath, they are in your heart. Look here, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu are dancing before you." Oh, where? Then Babaji suddenly leapt to his feet and he saw before him Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He saw before him Sri Nityananda Prabhu. He saw Sri Advaita Prabhu. He saw Sri Gadadhar, Srivas, and all the devotees performing kirtan. They were all dancing, completely absorbed in Mahabhav. Seeing this scene, he said, "Oh, blessed is Mayapur. Only Sri Mayapur can remove the grief of separation from Braj." And when the scene disappeared, he went on dancing for a long time. Then later, becoming peaceful, he sat in his cottage. And just then, Vijay Kumar and Brajanath came, and they offered obeisances at his lotus feet. And seeing them, Babaji Maharaj was very pleased. And he said to them, "How is your bhajan?" That's what he asked to them. "How is your bhajan?" I remember when I came to Srila Gurudev, Srila Narayan Maharaj, to meet him, personally to meet him for the first time in 1988. And I came to Sri Keshavji Gaudiya Math. And when I came up the stairs, he was standing there. I paid my obeisances to him and told him that I had come from America, from California, that I had brought a donation from my godbrother, Pran Kishore, who was collecting to build the temple in Seva Kunj, Vrindavan, which later became named Sri Rupa Sanatan Gauriya Mat. And so then when I stood up, then he asked me, "How was your bhajan?" And at that time, I wasn't accustomed to being asked that question. Because usually in the West, we say, "How are you? How are you? How are you?" Of course, Gurudev, he would also ask that question as he traveled around the world, "How are you? How are you?" But in this circumstance, he asked, "How is your bhajan?" And somewhat knowing what does the question actually mean, I didn't fully understand. So I said, "I think my bhajan is okay." But actually it wasn't okay. And later on I would understand what needed to be improved, what needed to be upgraded by the association of Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. So this is the beginning, opening scene. And as you can see, this highly exalted personality, Babaji Maharaj, actually his name is Raghunath Das Babaji Maharaj. So he became overwhelmed with an actual vision. Mayapur began to reveal to him the pastimes of Mahaprabhu, and he saw them dancing. And the Vaishnavas also saw them dancing. And then the vision disappeared, and then he began weeping in separation and condemning himself. These are the symptoms of very, very exalted, pure Mahabhagavad Vaishnavas. So then after this happened, these two devotees, Vijay Kumar and Brajanath, now they actually lived in Navadvip Dham or Gaur Mandala, and one of them is an uncle and the other is a nephew. And the previous chapters are explaining how they came together to come together and inquire from these very exalted personalities, these pure Vaishnavas, Gaura Bhaktas, and to learn everything from them. So now they again have arrived at the lotus feet of Babaji Maharaj. They offered their obeisances, and when Babaji Maharaj saw them, he was so pleased to see them. They said, "How was your bhajan?" Then both of them humbly folded their hands and they said, "We need your mercy, for it is everything to us. Your mercy is everything to us. It is only because of so much sukriti, pious activities, that have been accumulated over many births, that we could so easily attain the shelter of your lotus feet." You see? No one comes in contact with such exalted Vaishnavas unless they have heaps and piles of sukriti, pious activities, especially bhakti unmukha sukriti from previous lives. Then they can come into the association of pure Vaishnavas. So now they told to Babaji Maharaj that because it is Ekadasi today, so with your permission, we will observe Nirjal fasting. We have come to take your darshan. So then Babaji Maharaj said, "You two are blessed. Oh, very soon you will attain the state of bhav. Imagine. Do you know what the state of bhav is? That's what this whole chapter is about. But here he's telling to them, you are very blessed. You two devotees. You are very blessed, and very soon you will attain the state of bhav. Then Vijay Kumar, he said, Prabhu, what is the state of bhav? So far, you have not told us anything about this. So kindly bestow your mercy upon us by speaking on this subject. So, what is the state of bhav? Do you know what is the state of bhav? Okay. This is a very partial, only a very, very partial understanding of the state of bhav. Of course, there are chapters preceding this that are explaining about bhakti and Vaidhi bhakti, Raganuga bhakti, and how bhakti is the process. It is called the abhideya. Bhakti is the process through which the state of bhav can be attained. So we're going to be reading now his explanation of what is the state of bhav. The entire chapter is dealing with that subject. And now we will begin to understand. So they asked him this question, what is the state of bhav? And so far you have not told us anything about this. So kindly bestow your mercy upon us by speaking on this subject. So then, Babaji Maharaj, he told, up to this point I have only given you instructions concerning the practice of sadhana. Yes. So by continually practicing sadhana, one gradually comes to the perfected stage. To the perfected stage. Bhav is the preliminary condition of that perfected stage. It is the first section of that perfected stage. Bhav is the preliminary condition which heralds or which begins to announce that, the perfection is coming. Your spiritual perfection, your siddha avastha, it is now about to take place. That is called bhav. Sri Dasmul, the 10 essential principles, Sri Dasmul gives the following description of this perfected state. So here is a very, very wonderful explanation by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who composed these shlokas. Sarupavastane madhura rasa bhavo daya iha vraje radha krishna svajana jana bhavam hridi vahan paranande pritim jagadatula sampat sukamaho vilasakye tatve parama paricharyam sa labate. So this is the 10A and 10B, these two next shlokas. And here's the translation. In the mature stage of sadhana bhakti, when the jiva becomes situated in his swarup, then by the influence of the ladini potency, the state of bhav in madhur rasa arises within him. So he's saying, in the mature state of sadhana bhakti. So what does that mean? The mature state of sadhana bhakti. What are the different stages of sadhana bhakti? You know? Srila Rupa Goswami has told the different stages from Shraddha leading up to Bhav and ultimately to Prem. So, in the beginning stages, it is like a plant, like a little creeper that you just planted the seed. And you're just waiting for a little sprout to come up from the earth, like that. So this is called the immature stage. But as that sprout grows, then gradually it becomes stronger and stronger. And this is the whole principle of the Bhakti Lata Bij that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Rupa Goswami. The Bhakti Lata Bij. The seed of the creeper of devotion. So, that Bhakti Lata Bij, it grows. And Mahaprabhu could describe this. That seed being planted in the heart of the devotee, then the first symptom, the tiny little bud coming up from the earth, it starts to show two different leaves on it, just a tiny little bud. So that stage is the beginning stage, but without that beginning stage, there cannot be any further stages. So Mahaprabhu gave this example, this analogy of a vine growing from a seed. And that vine, it will become gradually stronger. That vine will become gradually stronger and stronger. And gradually it'll become so strong that nothing can harm that vine. So, the stages of growth of the Bhakti Lata Bij are beginning with Shraddha, faith. And by this Shraddha, the devotee is inclined towards associating with sadhus, with pure Vaishnavas, and hearing from the sadhus. Devotees inclined towards that. So, that's the next stage is called sadhu sangha. First there is Shraddha, then there is sadhu sangha. Now in that sadhu sangha, progressively associating with the Vaishnavas, hearing from the Vaishnavas, trying to implement the instructions of the Vaishnavas, his faith becomes even stronger. And then he begins to see a particular Vaishnava that attracts his heart. He begins to see a particular Vaishnava who attracts his heart. And in that assembly of Vaishnavas, now he approaches that particular Vaishnava and he requests, please accept me as your disciple. I want to learn from you. I want to surrender to you. I want to understand all the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from you. And that Vaishnava mercifully accepts that Jiva as a disciple. And now he gives initiation, and now he begins to continue to give instructions and to teach all the necessary Tattva Siddhanta, Sambandha Gyan, Abhideya Gyan, Prayojan. All these tattvas, tattva Gyan. So he begins to give instructions, and that disciple begins to follow in his life. He implements. You should chant every day 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra on your Japamala. You should follow 4 regulative principles. And you should try to read and study the Vedic literatures. And you should try to attend morning, evening artiks. You should try to attend lectures like this. So many instructions are given by Rupa Goswami for the practice of sadhana bhakti. So that person now begins to perform sadhan bhajan. And gradually what takes place, this is called bhajana kriya. Bhajan kriya means to perform bhajan. So when you're asked the question, how is your bhajan? That's what it means. Are you doing your bhajan according to how you have heard, how you have been instructed to do by your superiors? How is everything progressing for you? Like that. So that stage of bhajana kriya goes on for a long time. And what is taking place during that time is anartha nivritti. Anartha nivritti means the elimination of the unwanted different contaminations in the heart. Anartha nivritti. Anartha means unwanted, unnecessary. Anartha. So, by that, anartha nivritti, gradually the heart becomes clean. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has told that the power of chanting the holy name of Krishna, he's told that in his Sikshastakam, verse number 1, Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Cheto Darpana Marjana means the heart. The mind, the heart, becomes what? Like a mirror that is being cleaned from the dust that is covering the mirror. Darpanam means mirror. And Marjanam means to clean. So Cheto Darpana Marjanam. So that process of cleansing the heart is called removal of the anarthas, or anartha nivritti. So when the anarthas become removed, more and more and more and more, over a period of weeks, months, years, by consistently and persistently following the process of sadhana bhakti. Hearing, chanting, remembering all the 9 limbs of bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Vandanam, Pada, Sevanam, Archanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. These are the 9 limbs of bhakti. So, by doing that, by the disciple following the instructions of the Guru, with dedication, with strong faith, then what happens is he begins to experience so much more development within his heart. He begins to taste and experience how the miseries and sufferings of the material world are becoming so much diminished. He begins to experience illumination in the heart from understanding transcendental tattva gyan, tattva siddhanta, and his life becomes very auspicious. So that stage of anartha nivritti, as I said, this continues for an extended period of time. Anartha nivritti. Is there a question? Yeah. Anartha nivritti. Now that stage of anartha nivritti, when it becomes not complete, not fully accomplished, no. It is still partial, but when most of the anarthas have been significantly removed, then what happens at that time? There is one verse, Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana, Vidyantaksto hi Bhadrani, Vidunoti Suhrit Satam, Nashtak Prayeshu Abhadreshu, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Bhagavati Uttama Shloke, Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So here it is telling that Nashtak Prayeshu Abhadreshu. Here Srimad Bhagavatam is telling, when most, not all, but Nashtak Prayeshu, the word Prayeshu means mostly accomplished. Prayeshu, not fully, but mostly accomplished. Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu, and Abhadreshu means anarthas, inauspicious things in the heart. So, when most of them have been destroyed and removed from the heart, then what happens? Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Because the devotee has been constantly, nityam, regularly, months, years, always doing sadhan bhajan, always doing the limbs of bhakti, always being in the association of the sadhus, then what happens? Bhagavati Uttama Shloke. Who is Uttama Shloka? Krishna. Krishna's name, he has millions of names. One of his prominent names is Uttama Shloka. Uttama Shloka. The word shloka means a composition, like poetry. Composition, shloka. So we have hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands of beautiful shlokas in the Vedic literatures. So many beautiful verses, especially Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the ripened fruit of all the Vedic knowledge. Especially Srimad Bhagavatam. So, Bhagavati Uttama Shloke means unto Krishna, who is Bhagavan. Krishna is Bhagavan. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke. And his name is Uttama Shloka. Because why? Because the Uttam Shlokas, the topmost beautiful poetical shlokas, they glorify him. Not ordinary poetry, no. Topmost poetry of the Paramahansas, they glorify Krishna, and that's why Krishna's name is Uttam Shlok. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. What is taking place? That by Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, serving the Bhagavat and the person Bhagavat. That means Srimad Bhagavatam book and the person Bhagavat, pure devotee of Krishna. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. By Nityam means regularly, always. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Bhagavatam is telling us, now you will enter into very Naishtiki Bhakti. Naishtiki Bhakti means Nishta. You are completely convinced, you are completely dedicated, you are always completely surrendering. In that kind of mood of bhakti, now what happens is your bhakti advances. Where does it advance to? It goes to the next stage. After anartha nivritti, then comes what? Nishta. Nishta. What is Nishta? Well, we have to read the entire book of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur to understand. What are the symptoms of each and every stage? But in the stage of Nishta, the devotee's mind, intelligence, words, and his life force, his energy, his emotions, they are very fixed. Very fixed, day and night, day and night. And he simply wants to do bhakti to Krishna. So, that stage of Nishta is the beginning of Madhyam Adhikari. In the preliminary stages before that, the devotee is in the stages of Kanishta Adhikari. And Kanishta Adhikari has many, many different stages. And generally we hear 3 different divisions, but Gurudev said there are hundreds of divisions of all these different stages. Not just 3 divisions. But for general understanding, each one of the 3 stages of the Vaishnavas, meaning Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, and Uttam Adhikari. So those 3 stages, they are divided also into 3 stages. And they have their various symptoms for each one of those stages. So what is the first stage of Kanishta Adhikar? It is called Kanishta Kanishta, then Kanishta Madhyam, then Kanishta Uttam. And then when the devotee comes into the stage of Madhyam, now there are also 3 stages of advancement. So Madhyam Kanishta, Madhyam Madhyam, and Madhyam Uttam. And then when the devotee reaches the stage of Bhav, which is what we're talking about, which is what we're hearing about, what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is describing, when he reaches the stage of Bhav, now there are also 3 divisions. What is that? Uttam Kanishta, Uttam Madhyam, and Uttam Uttam. So there's a long pathway. It is not such an easy thing to traverse the pathway of bhakti and be successful without tremendous amount of sincerity, without a tremendous amount of sincerity and honesty in the heart, not the duplicity, without ridding your heart and your mind of all material desires to enjoy the temporary things of this world. Without all of this, it is not possible to be successful in the stages of bhakti. One will become very much stuck. But by association with pure Vaishnavas, by hearing from them who have realization, then your bhakti gradually becomes influenced by that. It becomes upgraded, and you become corrected by those Vaishnavas if you have misconceptions. And if you are completely in illusion about so many things, those Vaishnavas will mercifully correct you, put you back on the pathway, back on track, okay, and give you a push and give you inspiration. But without the association of Vaishnavas, no one can be successful. No one has ever been and ever will be in the history of the universes will they be successful in attaining the perfectional stage of bhakti. No, impossible. The association of pure Vaishnavas, satsanga, this is the key. This is the key. But it's not just who you're associating with, it's how you're associating with them. And that only fortunate jivas, as we already read, that Vijay Kumar and Brajanath were told by Babaji Maharaj, you are very fortunate. That very easily you have come into the association of the Vaishnavas. What is this the result of? Many, many lifetimes of Sukriti. You see. So, we should know. That's why we're studying this chapter. That's why we're studying a number of chapters in the coming weeks from the Jaiva Dharma, to understand very clearly. So, now we have come to the stage of Nishta, Madhyam Adhikar. Sikshastakam verse number 3 is the verse that describes the symptoms of the devotee in that stage. When the beginning stage of Madhyam is there, then the symptoms of the third verse of Sikshastakam. So what is the third verse of Sikshastakam? I'm waiting. Third verse of Sikshastakam. What? No, you tell. You know? You know? Okay. You must learn this verse. It's a very short verse and very simple. Now, what is the meaning of this verse? Because I'm telling you that in Bhajan Rahasya, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he's describing that this verse represents the beginning stage of Madhyam Adhikar. So what will be the mood of a Madhyam Adhikari? 4 symptoms. What are they?
Less than the grass.
What? Less than the grass. What is less than the grass?
Consider one who considers himself more than the grass. Humble. The grass. Because if you put on grass fall down.
Yes.
Even you should be more humble than grass.
Yeah. Sunich means lower. Sunich. Lower than a blade of grass. Generally, people in this world would consider that to be an insult. The ordinary materialistic people of this world, if you told them, you're lower than a blade of grass, What would they say? What? Who do you think I am? Huh? Calling me lower than a blade of grass? Huh? But the Vaishnavas, this is their goal. Because no spiritual realization can come into the heart without this symptom, without this mood. No spiritual realization can come. Why? Because pride, arrogance and pride, puffed up, I'm so great, I know so much, I. And also my. So the gross materialistic persons, they want to be seen as the greatest, as the topmost, as the most elevated. But that is the complete converse opposite of true spiritual realization. Yes. So only when the anarthas are coming out of the heart and your faith has become very strong, then this transformation of the heart can take place. Otherwise, you will be hampered by anarthas after anarthas after anarthas. So the symptom that someone is coming into the madhyam stage is that many anarthas have gone, and now that devotee feels himself. We just heard how Babaji Maharaj was condemning himself. He's the most elevated Vaishnava amongst all the Vaishnavas at Srivasangam. And he's condemning himself. I'm the lowest, I'm the most fallen. This is true spiritual realization. Trinada pisuni chena. Then the second symptom, Toror api sahishnuna. Sahishnuna means tolerant. And Mahaprabhu gives the example of a tree. We didn't make this up. Mahaprabhu gave this example. And it's perfectly appropriate, because a tree never protests. A tree never protests. What are you doing? What are you doing with that saw? You've come to cut me down? Wait a minute, don't do that. Does a tree talk to you and protest? No. And not only does it not protest, it's so tolerant that even when someone comes to cut down the tree, it continues to give it shade, to give shade. It continues to give its fruits, even when it's being cut down. And now comes the other two symptoms, amanina, manadena. Is that a bird or is that somebody? Really? Oh, okay. Good, very auspicious. Amanina manadena. So, what does amanina mean?
No proud.
What?
No proud. No proud.
Yeah, but...
You don't have proud any proud.
But...
You have respect for...
But what... But... You have no pride from Trinada Pisunichena. But amanina means you don't expect any kind of praise or respect to be given to you by anyone. You don't expect that. You're not thinking, well, when is he going to recognize how great I am? When is he going to start to compliment me? No. Amanina. He doesn't expect any respect. And then mana dena. Mana means to give respect. Man. To respect. And he respects all jivas. According to their qualification, according to their level, he respects all jivas. So, then Mahaprabhu says, amanina mana dena kirtaniya sada hari. Very important. You want to chant continually? The only way that anyone can ever chant continually is if they're chanting what? Shuddhanam. When they're chanting the pure name of Krishna. Otherwise they cannot chant continually. But when they're chanting Shuddhanam, they cannot stop. They cannot stop chanting. So Mahaprabhu is teaching us that these are the symptoms of someone who is now coming into a genuine, somewhat advanced level. Now he has surpassed the stages of Kanishta, and now he is coming into Madhyam. And now his bhakti has to become more and more accomplished, more and more pure, more deep, more realization, everything. So then comes the stage of ruchi. Ruchi also means taste, because now he is tasting the sweetness of everything connected to Krishna Bhakti, to Krishna's associates, Nam, Guna, Rupa, Lila, everything. And he is so attracted, so forcibly attracted. So that stage of ruchi, some very deep realizations are beginning to come into the heart. And what is the verse from Shikshastakam that shows that stage of ruchi? 4th shloka. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamaye, mama janmani janmanishvare, bhavatad bhaktir ahoituki tvai. Can you explain every word of that verse? No, but each word, the Sanskrit. That's why you're saying it so quickly, because it has no meaning to you. You're just going... That's not how you chant Sanskrit. Just say it as quickly as possible. No. That means you have no comprehension of the meaning of each word. You're not actually tasting and relishing the depth of that shloka. So, what is that shloka again? Na dhanam. What is dhanam?
You don't need wealth.
Dhanam means wealth. Na janam. What is janam?
It is material knowledge.
No.
Okay, followers.
Janam, translated like followers, family members, people who have affection for you.
Public association.
Huh?
Public association.
Public?
Association.
More than that. Janam means persons who they like you and they compliment you, they praise you, they like that. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim. What is sundari? Huh?
Material knowledge. It is beautiful wife, maybe.
No, it means material enjoyment, sense gratification. Specifically, what is the goal? Sundari. This is the goal of sense gratification in the material world, to get beautiful wife, beautiful husband. Sundari. And kavitam. Kavitam means what? What?
Poetry.
Kavita means poetry. But in this connection, what does it actually mean? So now I'm telling you what has been deeply explained by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and also Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj has explained. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam. These 4 represent Dharma, Artha, Kam and Moksha. So the pure devotee in this stage of ruchi, he has no attraction anymore. In the stage of ruchi, he has no more attraction for material enjoyment, which is separate from Shuddha Bhakti. Not even liberation, not even moksha. He has no more attraction for that. Therefore, he declares to Krishna, Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamaye. O Jagadish, O Krishna, the Lord of this universe, all these desires, these kamaye, I have no more desire for them. Na dhanam, na janam, I don't want. But what do I want? Mama janmani janmanishvare bhavatad bhaktir ahoituki tvai. I don't even want liberation. I can remain within this world birth after birth, as long as I can have what? Ahoituki bhakti to you. Yes. Ahoituki means without cause, causeless. Only for Krishna. Only for Krishna's benefit. Ahoituki bhakti. So, that stage of ruchi is quite advanced. Not neophyte. Quite advanced. And without ruchi, it is difficult still to perform all the limbs of bhakti and to make rapid progress. But in the stage of ruchi, so many of the anarthas, more and more of anarthas are now gone, and taste has come. And when this ruchi, when this taste increases, then comes lobha. Lobha means greed. Greed. Laulyam or lobha, these two Sanskrit words. Intense longing and greed. So, lobha is the preliminary qualification to begin to practice what is called rag marg bhakti, rag anuga bhakti. Without lobha, one cannot begin to practice that. You can pray for it, but you have no qualification to practice it. Lobha and greed also brings realization, very deep realization. So now the devotee is longing and longing. Then comes the final stage of Madhyam Adhikar, Madhyam Uttam. That is called Asakti. Asakti means attachment. In that stage of Asakti, now the devotee becomes very overwhelmed by what? Different momentary visions. He has vision internally within his heart. These are called spurti. Sudden momentary vision within the heart that, this is who I am. I am your eternal servant, O Krishna. I have a specific relationship with you. And then his spiritual form begins to reflect within his heart. And he begins to understand, yes, this is my eternal identity. In Braja, in Goloka, and I serve Radha and Krishna in this identity. So in the beginning of the stage of Asakti, one is attached to the process of bhajan. But in the farther developed stage, then one is attached to the object of bhajan, called bhajaniya. And who is the object of bhajan? Krishna. Krishna and his associates. So that attachment becomes very, very strong. And only then can what is being described in this chapter take place. Only then. In that stage. So now we have read here that in the mature stage of sadhana bhakti, when the jiva becomes situated in his swarup, then by the influence of the ladini potency, the state of bhav in madhur rasa arises within him. How does it happen? Is this some imaginary thing? Here is being explained how it happens. How does that bhav in madhur rasa arise within him? By the influence of what? What potency of Krishna? Hladini Shakti. Hladini Shakti. Which potency? Everyone, which potency? Yes. But that Hladini Shakti can only come when the stage of sadhana bhakti has become mature, and when he begins to realize his swarup, his spiritual form. Only then the influence of Hladini Shakti potency descends into the heart, which is called the state of bhav in madhur rasa. It arises within the heart. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is explaining it more. He says, in other words, the mood to follow in the footsteps of the dearmost associates of Shri Radha Krishna in Braj arises in his heart. That's what arises. As a result of Hladini Shakti potency, yes, as a result of Hladini Shakti potency, and as a result of his sadhana bhakti becoming mature and reaching the stage of asakti. As a result of that, then what happens? The mood to follow in the footsteps of the dearmost associates of Sri Radha and Krishna in Braj arises in his heart. So how can you know? I'm asking the question. How can you know that Hladini Shakti potency has descended into the heart and has caused the state of bhav in madhurya rasa to arise within his heart? What will happen then at that stage? What will happen at that stage? The desire, the mood and the desire to follow in the footsteps of the dearmost associates of Shri Radha and Krishna in Braj arises in the heart. Then gradually he obtains happiness and he attains prosperity that is unsurpassed in this world. No wealth, no good fortune can compare in this world with this. Yes. With attaining the stage of bhav, it is the most highest good fortune for the jiva, and it is very rare. So, in the form of the supreme service of Paramananda Tattva, What is Paramananda Tattva? Paramananda means supremely blissful. And there's another name for that. It's called Vilas. So serving in the form of supreme service to Krishna, Paramananda Tattva, that is known as Vilas. So there is no greater gain than this for the Jiva in the whole world. No greater gain than this. Now, the next shloka of the Dasmul Tattva, actually it's called shloka Dasmul 10b. 10b. So this next shloka, it describes Prayojan Tattva, the stage of prema. And the first stage of prema is what? Bhav! That's what we're talking about here. See, I'm trying to understand if you're getting it or you're understanding it or not. And you're not getting it. It's not clear to you. This is very, very systematic. This is very scientifically being explained. But you have to listen very carefully. You have to try to become absorbed in understanding and remembering what you just heard. If it's just going in one ear and out the other, then what's the use? So now here is the shloka of the Dasmul Tattva explaining, here's the Sanskrit shloka, explaining the first stage of prema, which is called bhav. Bhav is the first stage of prema. So Prabhu ka ko jiva katamidam achid vishvam itiva vicharyaitan artan hari bhajana krich chastra chatura abedasham dharman sakalam aparadham pariharan harer namanandam pibati haridaso harijanai. So the question is being asked in this shloka, who is Krishna? Who am I, the Jiva? First question, who is Krishna? Second question, who am I, the Jiva? How you say that in Russian? Kto Krishna? What? I can't hear you. Oh yeah, что такое Krishna? Что такое Jiva? I. Who am I?
Что it is here, кто it is only when.
So кто какой? Huh? Что?
Что it is here.
Oh, to. Not что, to. To такой Krishna, to такой Jiva. So the question is being asked here that who is Krishna? Who am I? Who am I? The Jiva. What is this temporary world? This achit world? Everything here is made of the 8 gross material elements. And it's achit. It has no consciousness. Does this ceiling and this floor, does this have consciousness? Is this floor aware that I am living? Is this fan aware that I am going in circles? No, because this is the achit world. Everything here is unconscious in this world. Only by the jiva, the jivatma, chitkana, spiritual particle, entering into the material world, then forms and shapes take place, bodies are created, And it appears that these material elements have become living. But do the material elements ever become living? Do they become alive? Your body is made out of earth, water, fire, air, ether. Your gross body is made of those 5 elements. Now it appears that those elements are alive, right? Because our hands are moving, we're conscious of our body and all of that. But do those elements actually become conscious? No. They don't become conscious. They are only connected to the Atma that is situated in the heart, the area of the heart of this temporary body. And because they're connected to the Jivatma, the material elements, through the blood, through the nervous system, through the oxygen system, the heart pumping, everything, because they're connected, so they appear to be alive. So we can say this body is living, or this body is dead. But actually, the material elements were never living. Were they living? No, only the Jivatma is living. Material elements, only the consciousness coming from the Jivatma is transmitted through the material elements. And it appears that the material elements have become alive. But no, the material elements are never alive. They're achit. That's what's being asked in this verse here. What is this temporary material world, this achit world? And then the next question is, and what is the eternal spiritual world, chit world? So he who is exclusively devoted to the bhajan of Sri Hari and who has made an intelligent analysis of the Vaishnava Shastras under the guidance of Shuddha Bhaktas, who has abandoned all offenses and who has abandoned all attachment to Dharma and Adharma, and who can consider and also solve or dispose of all questions, that servant of Sri Hari drinks the sublime beverage of Sri Hari Nam in the company of other Hari Jans. So, what a shloka. What an amazing shloka. Here it's telling that what are the qualifications of someone who can realize who Krishna is? What are the qualifications of a devotee who can realize himself as being Atma? What are the qualifications of someone who can realize this temporary achit world, that it is the external and inferior energy of Krishna, unconscious? And what devotee can realize the spiritual world that is beyond this material world, and it is called the chit world, completely conscious world? Who can realize this? Now we're going to hear this one more time, so try to remember every point that's made here. Here's the qualifications to realize and to come to the stage of bhav. First one, that devotee who is exclusively devoted to the bhajan of Sri Hari. Are we exclusively devoted to the bhajan of Sri Hari? Are you? Are you exclusively devoted to the bhajan of Sri Hari?
I'm trying, but I don't know what's my result. Is you or you should
So, Achyuta has a doubt whether he has already become a pure devotee or whether he's not yet a pure devotee.
I'm trying to do it, but I'm not pure.
Yeah, but the question is, are you now exclusively devoted to the bhajan of Sri Hari? You know what exclusive means?
Only
You don't do anything else. Everything you do is connected with the bhajan of Sri Hari. Okay. Thank you for being honest. So now comes the next question. This is the next qualification. Someone who has made an intelligent analysis of what? Of all the Vaishnava Shastras. And did he just do it by himself? No. He analyzed under the guidance of Shuddha Bhaktas. Under the guidance of Shuddha Bhaktas, he made an intelligent analysis of all the Vaishnava Shastras under the guidance of Shuddha Bhaktas. Has anyone done that? Any of you? Huh? What? I can't hear. No, but here it says past tense. You've accomplished. You have made already. You're not making, you're not in the process of analyzing. You've already analyzed and made an intelligent understanding of all the Vaishnava Shastras under the guidance of who? A Shuddha Bhakta, a pure devotee of Krishna. Yes or no? You're saying yes. What? You don't know. You're not sure whether you've become a pure devotee yet, or whether you're just a neophyte devotee.
If I am asked, then I will say that not yet.
Well, that's what we're asking you. That's what we're asking right now. No, you haven't. None of you have. But you're in the process of doing it. That's good. Don't worry. It will come. I'm doing this for 53 years. Okay? I'm in the association of Mahabhagavad Vaishnavas for 53 years. I'm studying their books, their lectures, associating with them for a long time in this life. So therefore, I've done that. I've understood. Yes, is there more to realize? Of course there is. There is much more to realize. But the intelligent analysis of the Vaishnava Shastras under the guidance of Shuddha Bhaktas. Now, next qualification. Who has abandoned all offenses? Have you given up all aparads and offenses? Do you know how many different types of aparads and offenses there are? Huh? How many? How many types? How many categories of aparads? Yeah, how many? How many? Four. Jiva Chitkana aparat. Have you given up all offenses? No? Okay, that's a good, honest answer. Because if you have, you'll be chanting Shuddhanam. But since you're not chanting Shuddhanam, pure name of Krishna, there are offenses. No question about it. No question at all. Next qualification. He who has abandoned all attachment to Dharma and to Adharma. He's abandoned, he's given up all attachment to Dharma and all attachment to Adharma. What is Dharma? It means following the Shastras, rules and regulations of civilized life, avoiding sinful activities and so forth. But what is Adharma? Adharma is the opposite. Committing sinful activities, doing so many harmful activities, becoming a conditioned jiva who is simply attached to sense gratification. So here the qualification is that this person who can realize the transcendental knowledge, all the spiritual truths, he's also given up attachment to Dharma and Adharma. Family Dharma, social Dharma, political Dharma, all these different temporary Dharmas of this world. And who, next qualification, that person who can consider, he can consider any question and he can perfectly answer that question, dispose of that question. Yes. Can you do that? No. And finally, that servant of Sri Hari, who is exclusively devoted to bhajan, he drinks this sublime beverage of Sri Harinam in the company of other Harijans. What is a Harijan? What is a Harijan? You know this term? Harijan? Harijan means those who are purely devoted to Hari. They're his people, his jana. Jana means his people. So they're completely, purely devoted to Hari. They're called Harijans. And this devotee, he is always drinking this divine beverage, sublime beverage of Sri Harinam in the company of other Harijans. So that is the verse. These two verses are from the Dasmul. And just continuing a couple of more minutes. So then after quoting these two shlokas, Babaji Maharaj, he said, this Dasmul, these 10 principles, is the compilation of unparalleled beauty, in which all of Sriman Mahaprabhu's instructions have been very concisely expressed. All the various instructions of Mahaprabhu have been how do you call it? What's the word? Like in computer terminology, when you make a file smaller, what do you call that? What? I can't hear you. No, you're reducing the size of the bytes in a document. What is that called? When you reduce the size of the bytes in a document. Anyway, I can't remember. All of you people are on computers and phones day and night, but you also can't remember. What's the Russian word? Yeah. Okay, so anyway, the point is here that the Dasmul Tattva are 10 principles of Mahaprabhu. But he has condensed hundreds and thousands of instructions and hundreds and thousands of different tattvas into just these 10 shlokas of Dasmul Tattva. So now Vijay, one of these two devotees who came to Babaji Maharaj, and Vijay says, I would like to hear the exalted position of Dashmul in brief. I want to now hear how exalted is this Dasmul. So then Babaji says, then listen, now I'm telling you. And he quotes this shloka, which is from the Dasmul Mahatmya, the glorification of the Dasmul. Samsevya dashamulam vai hitva vidyam ayam jana bhava pushtim tata tushtim labate sadhu sangataha. So, when the Jiva studies and when the Jiva carefully follows this Dasmul, then what does he do? When he studies this Dasmul, and when he carefully follows this Dasmul, then he throws it very far away, the material disease in the form of avidya, ignorance. When someone studies this Dasmul, then he carefully follows the Dasmul, and then all this material disease in the form of avidya, ignorance, is thrown far away. Why? Because now he gains transcendental knowledge that illuminates his heart. And then, after that happens, through the association of sadhus, then he obtains the nourishment of bhav, and he becomes fully satisfied. Fully satisfied. Labate sadhu sangataha bhava pushtim tata tushtim. Tushtim means satisfied. So, we should study this Dasmul, because that's what will happen to us. This will happen to us. What? What will happen? What did this shloka just tell us that will happen to us? When you study the Dasmul carefully, and you carefully follow the teachings of the Dasmul in your life, you have the ability now to throw it far away. This ignorance, this avidya, material disease in the form of avidya, now you have the power to do that. And then after you can do that, then in the association of the sadhus, you obtain the nourishment of bhav. What we're talking about, this very elevated state, bhav. And then you become fully satisfied in your heart. Yes. So after that, they are requesting him to tell in more detail, and he begins to reveal the most amazing, wonderful katha about this stage of bhav, what it is. What is the experience of bhav? What is bhav produced from? How can one attain bhav? All of these things we're going to hear in this chapter. Gaur Premanande. Jai Sparikar Shishi Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Jiu Ki Jai. Jai Shri Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Ananta Kodi Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You don't like to sing? I never hear you sing. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Om Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.